Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to the Harpin on Rugby Preview Show. Joining me to look ahead to Leinster's return to Champions Cup action is someone back from their 43rd pod. Welcome back to Mr. Neil Keego. Keegan.
How are we? The weekend is nearly here. I hope you are well. You're glitching on me here, but not in real life. We're okay.
Yeah, we got some serious gremlins in the Matrix here. If anyone's watching on YouTube, my face is frozen like that. We're just going to go ahead and record. You can probably hear me anyway. Just hopefully I don't do any more embarrassing freeze faces than that during the course of the rest of the recording. But anyway, listen, before we get to the rugby, Keego, why don't you tell us a bit about what you have coming up when it comes to your stand-up gigs?
Yeah, absolutely. We get everything up and running from next Tuesday, January the 17th, in the Market Bar in Waterford. They've put on extra seats there, keeping it within the province. And then after that, I head into enemy territory. We're heading to Cork for a two-nighter. We're in the
Oh dear Lord.
Absolutely. So we're going to see what happens there. They might set me on fire.
You won't be wearing that jacket, I take it.
Sure. Look, starters with me to go on. Let's walk through the streets of Cork and see what happens. Or in the Comedy Cavern there in Coughlan's in Cork, easy for me to say, on the 24th. And then on Shomra, which is in Middleton, the next day on the 25th. And then we finish in the King's Head in Galway, which is magic, on the 30th of January. And then I'm actually doing a gig for the Chelsea Supporters Club of Ireland at some point in there as well. So we're covering all sports, all locations, making friends and enemies in every part of the land. So come along, KeegoLaughs.com.
Brilliant. Way back in the day, I used to work in a pub, and we had this customer from Cork who, if he said it once, he said it 1,000 times. Say, "How's it going, Podgy?" "Ah, sure, I'm fair to Middleton." Every single time, thinking it was the first time you'd heard it, but sure, fair play.
I'm going to write that down.
Please do. Yeah, there you go. You can have that one for free.
There we are.
Now, again, before we get to Leinster's game, I just want to say something real quick about the women's interprovincials. There's been a lot of talk this week. They're big in the news now. Leinster had a good win their first game last week. There's been a lot in the news about what's going on in the background with what's going on with women's rugby. I won't go through it all here. I'm going to put two Twitter accounts on the screen, and they'll be in the program notes as well. Check out those timelines. There's been a lot of talk about what's really going on there, and there's some good information there to help get a real discussion going about what needs to be done going forward. The only thing I will add to everything they've said is that this weekend, the women's interprovincials, going by last week's results, the tournament again is going to be between Leinster and Munster. They play on Saturday. They kick off at 12:15, which is like 45 minutes before the men kick off. I think if we're going to help, if we're going to help promote the women's game, I think we need to do something about the timing so that they don't overlap, because the likes of myself and Keego, we're into the game. We'd love to see any team wearing a Leinster jersey play at any stage, and it would help if they didn't overlap. Okay, so now it's time to start harping on this week's feature match, which you can see up there is Gloucester against Leinster. It's in round 3 of the 22-23 Heineken Champions Cup. And it kicks off at Kingsholm Stadium at 1 o'clock on Saturday, January the 14th. And the match is being broadcast on ITV1, but if you don't have that, it's on BT Sport 2. Leinster have literally just named their starting lineup at lunchtime on Friday as we were speaking. So let's have a look, starting with the back line. 15, Hugo Keenan, I was going to say Keegan, on the wings, Jimmy O'Brien and Jordan Larmour. The centers, Jamie Osborne and Gary Ringrose, the captain, and the halfbacks, Jemison Gibson Park and Ross Byrne.
Here we go, death, taxes and Ross Byrne. That's exactly what I love to see. And look, we've got the players that we talk about every single week. Jimmy O'Brien, Jamie Osborne are in there. They're given big responsibility there. Osborne right in there beside Captain Ringrose. Larmour back, which is great. That's pressure. I know you were telling me that Lowe is unavailable, but Larmour gets a start, and you can tell how hungry he is by how he celebrated the try the other week, where he tapped Jimmy O'Brien, or Jimmy O'Brien taps him on the shoulder to let him know he's there, keeps going, scores, that follows the pass. Brilliant stuff. You can see how hungry he is. Hugo Keenan, magic, absolute magic. And look, that's a great back line. Even with the injuries taken into account, they're all ready to rock and roll. There are no weak links there.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a really strong lineup, even without the names you'd expect in there. And we all know Ross Byrne can lead the line for sure. Now we'll move into the forwards. In the front row, we've got Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan, and Michael Alatoa. Second row, Ross Maloney and James Ryan, and finally the back row, Ryan Baird, Josh van der Fleer, and Caelan Doris.
Leaders everywhere. Porter and Sheehan is starting to really catch up to Porter in terms of leadership. Al Alatoa is very different to our other three, as we say every week, but he's been as consistent as Nutella on white bread. He's absolutely brilliant every time. Never lets you down. Maloney again is coming into a run of form, and Ryan, as we keep saying, is playing like he's angry, and it's really, really great. Now Jenkins not being beside him, it'll be interesting to see how they are going to operate together. But I do feel that Ross Maloney is really hungry again, and our back row. Look, we can keep talking about back rows forever. I think that there's Doris will jump in there, but like Doris is right there at the 8, Van der Fleer at 7, 6. That might be the only position where you might go, right, we have a final tomorrow. Is it Baird? Is it whoever? But Jeannie Mac, you put that back row up against anyone in world rugby in any jersey. So again, it's exciting. As you can tell, it's exciting. We've a couple of absentees, but look, no weak links again.
Absolutely. We were trying to work out, what kind of team we'd put out. And one of the sticking positions was at hooker. And that was only because in terms of Dan Sheehan this season, I don't know the stats on the minutes, but if you average it out, somehow it's more than 80 minutes he seems to be playing every week. He's been playing pretty much week in, week out, all throughout the season. And no, he's starting again, and we definitely need him there, and he's definitely earned it. And that's a really, really strong pack indeed. Even without, like we say, no Johnny Sexton, no James Lowe in the backs, no Ty Furlong here, but it's still a strong pack that you pick for any team in this competition. Right, we'll move on to the bench now, and as you can see there, we've got Ronan Kelleher, Michael Milne, Cian Healy, Brian Deeney, and Jack Conan in the forwards, and then the backs: Nick McCarthy, Harry Byrne, and Liam Turner.
Yeah, Liam Turner. I'm a broken record. I should just record this once, and you can play it every week. Liam Turner's really stepped up this year. Got his shot in green. And he's really, really stepped up. Harry Byrne, we need to take our time with him. There is plenty of time. Nick McCarthy again is doing the business. He's doing real business. Jack Conan, we're not picking Jack Conan to start a game. That's how good this team is. And I think I'm good at for him, but like he's still brilliant whenever he comes on. I think Milne is doing a great job. I think Kelleher's hungry for the jersey. I think Healy is never going to give up. He's still got gas in those boots, and I've no idea how he does it. 115 years of age. Cian, if you're listening, Jeff said that. Look, no weak links anywhere. As you can tell, I get really excited when we actually go through the entire squad, not just the team on the day. And you think about what's missing, and we're missing big boots from Lowe, but then you've got, you've got Jimmy has a big boot, Larmers has a big boot, and then you've got the guys to come on to kind of shore up certainly the front row, because it'll be a big game for the front rows again. But there's no weak links. There's no kind of throwing in players for experience. These guys we have been talking about week in, week out in every single game, and they are ready to get up here and really put a score on these guys.
Definitely. Those forwards, it's still a strong bunch of subs to come on in the pack there. Ronan Kelleher, we know, Jack Conan. They could have easily started, and Cian Healy as well. Brian Deeney and Michael Milne have come up. They've done well in the chances they've had. In the backs, that could be the least experienced back subs we've had on a European bench for a lot of years, but it's still, they can still all do a job. I'm a broken record too when it comes to Liam Turner. I've said it 50 times, I think, on this season, that his stock is rising. I keep saying it, but the reason I keep saying is that they keep giving him more responsibility.
Yep.
And now he's made a match day 23 for Europe, and his progression is going on and on this season. I think that's maybe something we didn't expect to come this season, but it's great to see. It's great to see them showing faith in him. They see him day in, day out in training, whatever, and he's come through the ranks, and they put the trust in him to fill that very important role. And it's good to see how he'll get on. Okay, so now it's time to have a look at our opposition, which is, of course, Gloucester, and I'm pointed with the wrong finger. It's that finger. As ever, my graphics department puts the names on the screens, and if you're listening on the podcast, they can be found in the program notes. Now, they took a bit of stick for the team they sent to the RDS, but this looks a lot closer to the Premiership side, Keego.
Yeah, 100%. The interesting thing about what's going to happen here is the hammering they got, I think, was worse than they expected. I know they expected to come out in the wrong end, but they came out in the very wrong end, a big number 2. And so I'm wondering how they're going to respond to that, because I can't remember, because they had a big Christmas Eve game, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they lost that one as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how they respond. They're at home. There'll be a bit of pride there. And they obviously are going to put out their stronger team. But look, as we always say, if you pick 115 out of the 30 that are going to take the pitch, there's not many in that striped jersey that would make that starting team, with all due respect. So it's a matter of, similar to when we were talking about, was it Connacht? Who were we talking about where they need to start big to try and build momentum? That's what Gloucester have to do. We have our opening attack or our opening defensive stand every single game. And it's either it's demoralizing both ways. If Leinster can defend for the 15 phases like last time, or score, which has been happening quite a lot, that's demoralizing, and that shuts down any momentum that they're going to build. I don't fancy that team at all. Nothing, we've got to reach and surpass expectations. So the guys are going to be professional. Obviously, they're going to put the shift in. They're going to work hard for 80 minutes. I think Dan Sheehan leaves the GPS for the run home. I think that's where all those extra minutes come in. But I think they're going to be beyond professional. They're going to put a big score on that team. And Gloucester are not going to want to see a blue jersey in their dreams for the rest of their lives after this weekend.
Yeah, on that team they did send to the RDS. I mean, everyone was saying that, oh yeah, it devalues the competition, and there's a lot of complaints, and they're all legitimate complaints. But my biggest complaint was that I'd spent hours watching all their Premiership games to get to know their best team, get to know their best players, and the research just went in the toilet when they picked out that team. So now I can benefit a little bit from that research, because I do know some of the names. But the only one I pick out was that prop Rapava Ruskin. He's very similar. If you want to know what kind of player, dynamic prop he is, just think Andrew Porter. I think he's exactly that kind of player. He'll carry, he'll offload, he'll jackal, he'll do all those extra things as well in the scrum. He'll get tries. He's very similar kind of player. It'd be great to see the two of them on the same pitch. And the other player I would be talking about, one of their danger players, is of course Lewis Rhys-Zammit, who their Welsh international, who got injured in one of those Premiership games before Europe started, and he's unable to play, and that's going to be a big loss for them. So I think that, but they will have the home advantage. They will want to put that game of Christmas behind them. So they are motivated on that front. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so now we'll move on to the officials. As you can see there, it's an all French lineup there. Pierre Brousset holding the whistle, and all French team with him. The weather forecast for Gloucester on Saturday afternoon is supposed to be partly sunny, sort of 8 degrees, 25% rain. Not too bad. Seems okay. Good for rugby at that time of day, which of course brings us on to our head on the block time. It's time for our predictions, and we've got Keego on, so we've got to start with his Munster prediction. They're playing Northampton. What do you reckon?
I haven't seen the team yet, but I'm going to Cork to do comedy, so I'm going to be nice again this week. I think they'll win. I think they're on a roll. I think they've just got to keep that ball rolling. It's unfortunate, the Healy situation, blah, blah, blah. I think they've got something going now. They've just got to keep that momentum going. I'll go for Munster by 5. Okay.
I have Munster by 20. I really think they should put Northampton away, and I think Northampton might do something similar to what Gloucester did in terms of it. Like, I haven't seen the teams either, but that was my theory, and the bookies are right between us. They have them by 13. So a Munster win anyway. We're all kind of agreed on that. They should win. Okay, now to Ulster, who have the toughest task of all. They're going to the champions La Rochelle.
This is the one I want them to win the most. This is the one where I want them to stick the middle finger up to everyone who's been speaking about them over the last 2 weeks. I don't think they have it in them right now. It's not nice to say, but I think it's a big win for La Rochelle. If they could move it to a neutral ground, maybe where only the Ulster traveling supporters could get in, that might be different. But I think it's La Rochelle by a big score. Could be 15, 20.
Yeah. The bookies are saying 16. I'm going for some kind of Ulster fight back. Maybe a late couple of tries. I've got them by 10, but you can't really see anything but a home win there. But you know what? This team of players do have a big European performance in them, so I wouldn't rule it out. But they're really up against it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up is Connacht, who play in the Challenge Cup. They're at home to Brive.
Yeah, I think Connacht, much like Munster, they're on a run. If they can keep that going, if they can fill that sports ground up, if it's freezing cold, nobody wants to go there. And I don't know much about Brive, but I'll just go Connacht by 10. I don't know anything
Yeah.
really about Brive, so yeah,
No,
I'll
you're
go with
right.
that.
No, it's a, I mean, I'm going with the French thing, French away from home, in Europe kind of deal. And I'm saying Connacht by 15 there myself, which leaves
Great.
us just with our match Gloucester against Leinster.
Yeah, I think the boys are in a great run of form. I think they're aggressive. I think they're angry. I think they have so much faith in each other, their skill level, their fitness level. They're just gonna. It's Leinster Jitsu again. Even if there is a fairly decent defense early on, I think it's Leinster by 15,
Yep.
maybe more than that.
Yep, that's what the bookies have. I'm just a little more. I'm just going Leinster by 12. I'm just saying, being a little more cautious. You don't want to be too optimistic. But the one thing I will say about Leinster, just the last couple of years, you've noticed you can actually see a difference in their mindset. They do go up a gear. For Europe, you can actually see it in the way they approach it, the way they play. I mean, they put on a different jersey. It's not just that; it's their attitude, and they do their levels of accuracy and everything do seem to rise when it comes to these big occasions. So they could put a bigger score. Yeah, you're saying?
Yeah, 100%. There's one thing I've noticed certainly this year and last year when it was going well. You can see when it's similar to Mike Tyson in the 80s. Like you can see the opposition get more tired than usual based on what Leinster are doing. They pick their spots so well, and when the other team have their power play, it's very rare that works. Very, very rare. They're great at reading things. Even when the line out was going badly against Connacht, there wasn't any trouble anywhere else around the pitch. So like they were able to kind of work around a failing line out that night. And I don't think Gloucester have it between the ears or in the gas tank to put up with that for 80 minutes. Whereas you look at the fitness level, just starting with the fitness level of Leinster over the last kind of certainly 5 years, it's off the charts. So that they will strangle the positivity out of people from an early stage. So I just don't think Gloucester have it between the ears to stay mentally with the game. And then once your mind goes, your body's going to go because it works harder to try and keep up. And I think it's going to be a big score.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to leave that there. It's obviously a big day of rugby tomorrow. Not only those women's interprovincials, but all four Irish provinces are all playing on the same day on Saturday. And on top of that, there's a whole list of All Ireland League matches as well. So tons of rugby. No excuse not to be watching something on Saturday. Looking forward to that. We're going to leave it there. Thanks to Keego for joining me for another preview show. And to you, the viewers and listeners, be sure to check out those links for his latest gigs in the program notes. And for Saturday's match, why not join the conversation on Mastodon throughout, and then maybe head over to our Facebook page at Full Time and leave your thoughts there. In the meantime, stay safe, everyone. Slán.
Cheers, guys. I've been locked in the RDS, so I'll see you over the weekend.